Good afternoon. Hello from Rowlett, Texas. This is Michael with Third Eye Mind Yoga, Meditation, and Sound Therapy Studio here in Rowlett, Texas. We're located at Paddle Point Park, right off of Miller Road, with a beautiful view of Lake Ray Hubbard. I would first like to thank everyone who has liked and followed our page. I decided to do a Facebook Live a couple of days ago and then started looking at the requirements, and it looked like we did not have enough followers. You need 100. And so yesterday I put out a call and threw out some ads, and next thing you know, we're up to 86, I think, this morning. And so I think that's fantastic. Thank you, all of you who have liked and followed. I hope that we are able to bring you some information that's helpful. And maybe if you are interested in coming to visit us here at the studio, you'll check us out at 3rdi.space. And you can find our schedule there, and you can find details about any of our classes that are coming up. We normally have classes twice a day, throughout 7 days a week. So hopefully there's something that'll fit into your time. All right, well, so today's little lunch and learn is what we're going to call this. We're going to start off with kind of an introduction to yoga. What is yoga? What is yoga about? Some people may be familiar with it, some people may not. Some people may have heard things about it, but not ever experienced going to a yoga studio or studying any of the yoga books or anything like that. And so this is mainly just an opportunity to talk to you a little bit about yoga, a little bit about what I've learned about yoga, and just kind of be an opportunity to learn, hence the lunch and learn. And if you are eating lunch, feel free to just sit back and relax. Hopefully this is going to be something that will entertain you and give you some information and maybe even make you think. Who knows? So let's start off with what is yoga and kind of a history of yoga. So yoga goes back a long time. The earliest that we've seen is 2500 BC. They found little seals made out of stones that have chiseled in them figures in postures, and that's going back 5,000 years ago. Spin ahead a bit, and we've got a gentleman by the name of Patanjali, and this was in about between 200 and 400 of the current era, in which this guy took all of the yoga teachings from the past thousands of years. That most of it, there's plenty of books, but some of it talked about some things, aspects of yoga, and some of it talked about other aspects. And so this particular gentleman, Patanjali, took all of those things and put them all together in what was called then the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. And so we look at this book as a great instruction manual for what yoga, the different aspects of yoga as the philosophy, and it does break down different aspects of yoga, some not as detailed, but it does give us a very good outline and some very detailed information about studying yoga on our own, studying with others, and studying with a teacher. And so Patanjali took all these stuff, put them in the book, and we then many years later, yoga wasn't all that familiar. Now, so again, yoga's got this history, thousands of years, but it wasn't that familiar to the Europeans, and especially not in the North American continent once they got moved over to here and expanded into here. And so in about 1893, a gentleman, Swami, I don't want to mispronounce, Swami Vivekananda, came to Chicago in 1893 and spoke at a Parliament of Religions. And in that presentation, he introduced essentially the West to yoga and the philosophies of yoga. And from there, you can pretty much say the rest is recent history, because yoga has now expanded all across the world. Here in the United States, they're everywhere. You can find a yoga studio in pretty much every major town and even some of the smaller towns. My dad's town in small town Arkansas has a yoga studio. So very cool that it's available and that you can find it pretty much anywhere. So now let's talk about yoga. What is yoga, right? So we know a little bit about a history of this idea, concept, philosophy. We know a lot of people have been doing it for a long time. It's very big in the Hindu religion, Buddhist religion, the Jain religion. And so it is not a religion in and of itself. And I don't want to speak out of turn, but from my study, yoga would not be considered a religion. It's more of a philosophy. Now, philosophies and religions can pair and match together. But in this particular case, yoga, the Sanskrit word yoga, what it means and translates to is a union or a joining. And in this particular case, a joining of our body, our mind, and our spirit. And now you may say, well, aren't we all walking around in a body with a mind and a spirit? Well, sure we are. But we may not necessarily, they may be operating separate from one another. Yoga is about bringing those three aspects of our being together, joining them together. Okay? And so through that, there is what's called the 8 limbs of yoga. And these are the different categories of yoga, aspects of yoga, and what it focuses on in that joining of our mind, body, and spirit. So let's talk about the 8 limbs now. The 8 limbs of yoga starts off with the first one. It's called the yamas. Now this one is simply how to treat other people, how to treat others is as basic as it is. It's got stuff like nonviolence, truth, being truthful and everything, not stealing, and not being attached to objects or others. And that one is it's a pretty basic. Most of the rules of the yamas you've probably heard before. We all want to be truthful. We all want to be honest. We don't want to hurt nobody. We definitely don't want to be stealing. These are all things that are pretty common that you're probably pretty agree with, and you're probably already doing most of them. So hey, you go, yogi. You're getting it. Number 2 in the 8 limbs is called the niyamas. Now this one is more about how we're treating ourselves and our body. This one includes stuff like cleanliness, keeping our body clean, keeping our mind clean, keeping our behaviors clean. Contentment, not, chasing after the next exciting thing and forgetting about all the other exciting things that we've done. And it's fun to go do exciting things, but sometimes we got to be you got to look at what you've got and appreciate it. Be grateful for the blessings that you have. Sometimes we get too tied up in chasing that next fulfilling opportunity, and we forget that everything that we really need is right there. It's right there with us. So contentment is a big one. It's a big part of the niyamas. Self-discipline kind of goes along with that. You want to keep yourself disciplined. You don't want to let yourself go out too crazy. Be mindful of your thoughts. Be mindful of your actions. And dedicating your life to the divine, ultimately. That is a great goal to have in our life, right? To dedicate our life to the divine. And we see the divine everywhere. I see it in a sunset. I see it in the stars in the sky. I see it in the plants and the insects. I mean, we can see the hand of the divine throughout the world and throughout our lives. So dedicating our lives to that would be a worthy cause, I think. So the niyamas, that kind of covers those in a general way. Again, we're covering all this in pretty general because this is an introduction. We will probably do further videos about breaking down each one of these, and probably on the 8 limbs, we'll probably do one for each one almost. I mean, you can really dig into those. So carrying on to number 3. Now, this is probably the one that most people are the most familiar with. And this would be the asanas. This would be the postures or the positions that we get in yoga. Now, so this is more focused on our body, right? The asanas is the movement of our body, putting our body under tension, putting our body under stress, relaxing our body. All of these things are part of the postures that we do in yoga. And there's lots of them. There's a whole variety of them. Some of them probably going to be a little bit challenging, but there's others that aren't as challenging. And I'm going to introduce you to a couple of them right now that you could easily do and could see some benefits in your daily life just doing these couple of postures. So I'm going to switch cameras real quick. See if I can do this without messing something up. Pow! Oh, look at that. Okay, it did it. All right, I'm going to move this out of the way. So now you can kind of see me standing. Pow! There we are. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do is what's called mountain pose. And in this posture, our feet are going to be about shoulder width apart, toes facing forward. Might give the knees just a little walk out. And all the way up our legs to our hips, everything is squared facing forward. And in this particular posture, mountain pose, we're going to have our hands down by our side, palms facing the front. Our head is sitting up nice and tall. And in this posture, you can stand there relaxed, but in order to get the most maximum benefit and to feel the power of the mountain, you need to start engaging the muscles in your body. And so just starting at your toes, and then just gradually up the calves, just start engaging the calves and then the hips, the quads. Continuing to breathe. Now, again, breathing, we haven't got to the breathing part of yoga yet. We're just talking about the postures. But you got to make sure you're breathing. You don't want to stop breathing in any of these postures. And so, again, I'm now engaged fully. My hands, my arms, my legs, and I am an immovable mountain. This is mountain pose. Now, from here, I'm relaxed. I'm going to shake out. From here, I'm going to go up. Now, again, that posture is it can be a very energizing posture. So again, just think about getting back in that posture, re-energizing, and then just think like if you've got a test coming up, just getting in that posture, just breathe in, nice deep breaths, and then just feeling solid, feeling grounded, right? So feeling immovable. That's mountain. All right. So we're going to relax out of that. So the next one, this one is the all-time best morning stretch posture that there is. So again, feet are basically in the same posture. You can walk it out if you want to. All the way up, we're facing forward. We're going to inhale, and we're going to reach our arms up overhead. Now our pinkies, we're going to kind of roll those in towards themselves. Hands, fingers pointing straight up to the sky. Now your shoulders might tend to go up towards your ears. Gradually just relax the shoulders. Drop them down. And again, starting at our feet, we're going to engage our feet, calves, fully engaging the legs, the abdomen, pulling the abdomen in towards the spine, pulling the belly button in, still breathing. Arms are up. And now in our upward salute here, again, it's a very grounding and powerful posture. And so from this, for our morning stretch, you take a nice big deep breath, stretch it up, relax those shoulders back. And then we're just going to exhale, bringing our arms down, bending at the waist right here, and just as far over as is comfortable. Now I'm going to bend my knees. It's always good to get a good bend to your knees, a nice generous bend. That'll give you a little bit more space if you've got tight quads and tight hamstrings. Bending at the knees is perfectly fine. And we're just going to let our head hang. Now this is more of a relaxed posture. This is not one that you're going to energize your body on. This is one that we're just going to kind of let our upper body hang. We might even do some little side to side if it's a morning stretch that we're doing. Letting our head hang heavy, maybe doing a yes or a no. Shaking that stress out. So this is forward fold. Again, looking from the side. Forward fold. So again,
with a bend in our knees, we could even come down a little bit further. And in this one, again, your head is hanging down. You can fold your arms, grab the elbows like that, do a little ragdoll, as we call it. Just really, again, I'm very relaxed in this. I'm releasing tension in the lower back. I may have some tension here. That's just because I'm bent over, but mainly that upper body is just hanging there. Head is hanging there. Shoulders are loose. And again, if you can touch the mat, that's great. If you can't, if you're more up here, that's perfectly fine. Heck, maybe you're up here. That's perfectly fine. All of this is little baby steps. And as you allow those muscles and tendons to stretch a little bit and to ease into it, then you can take a nice deep inhale, rising up, and bring those arms up overhead, back into our mountain pose. Big inhales up, reaching, stretching. Exhaling forward, fold again. There you go. And this is a great morning stretch, just doing these two postures right here. Inhaling up, big stretch, energized. Exhale, relaxing as we fold forward. And you can do a lot of things with that from there. And so that is mountain, standing posture, upward salute, and our forward fold. The last one I'm going to show you. So in continuing on with our 8 limbs of yoga, we're on now from our asanas to pranayama. Now that's the breathing aspect of yoga. And the most important thing to remember about pranayama is, for the most part, we want to be breathing in through our nose. Mostly we'll breathe out through our nose, but occasionally we will breathe out through our mouth. But for the most part, you want to focus on nose breathing throughout your practice of yoga. It's much more beneficial, and you're going to find a lot more benefits in the future by going through that method. And so right now we're just going to do a quick little breathing thing. That's all it is. Controlled breathing. That's really all it's about. You taking control of the steering wheel. The breathing is the connection that takes that mind, body, and spirit and yokes them, brings them, unites them together, as the word yoga is meant to do. So the breath is what is that connecting factor that brings all 3 of those parts together. So that's what makes it so important. So the breath, right now, all we're going to do is just breathe in through the nose. We're going to take a nice big deep inhale, and then out through the nose, big deep exhale. And just feel your body relax with that exhale. Do another one, nice big inhale. Pulling it up to the top, holding it just for a second, and then exhale through the nose. Nice and slow, just letting it push that air out. One more nice deep inhale. And exhale. Nice, slow, and controlled. Excellent. That right there can just relax and calm you down in a stressful situation. That alone, 3 little breaths just like that. There's much more breathing exercises that you can do that do a lot more different things. But just as an introduction, breathing, pranayama, that is a huge, big part of yoga in our yoga practice. Carrying on to the next of the 8 limbs, this would be number 5. This is pratyahara. This is withdrawing of the senses. So as we're going through our life, we're going to get overwhelmed with sensations, and sometimes our emotions are going to get out of control. And so pratyahara is kind of finding that ability to control those things, control the sensations in our body, those little itches and things that are making us want to twitch, just setting those aside and just carrying on. Anytime our emotions start to get out of control, we should be able to kind of, through our breath, maybe, and bringing that stuff back down to a calm situation where we can think. That's really a big part of the pratyahara. So the next one, number 6, is dharana. Dharana. And this is deep concentration. So this is basically concentrating on our consciousness. So this is where your yogis are up in the mountains, contemplating the universe. And you can do it just as simply as, again, just sit anywhere and just start thinking. Just start thinking about how you got here. How your parents met, how their parents met, how they got where they were, that created the being or the possibility for them to be. You start taking these interesting little
ideas and just really putting a lot of thought and concentration into it. And who knows what you're going to come up with. But this one, most people find a lot more difficult to concentrate, especially these days. We have a very short attention span. So having a better ability to concentrate helps you in a lot of different aspects of your life. So very important aspect or limb of yoga. Number 7, dhyana. Now we're really getting up into the higher levels of yoga, and this is like the serious stuff that like takes years and years and years of study and practice, but it's still important to know what they are so we know what the goals are and where we're headed in our yoga practice. So dhyana is meditative absorption. Basically, we're focusing all of our thoughts and energies and attentions on the divine, which is the 8th limb, samadhi, the union of body, mind, and spirit, and the realization that all things are connected, that we are all divine, that there is purpose in all things, that all beings have the right and have the purpose to live and to do their function here on the earth. We all have a purpose. We all have a function. And so when we finally get to that divine understanding of what life is all about, maybe we'll be close to that. It's a long process, but it's a beautiful process. As you go through and step through each one of these, thinking about others, thinking about your body and yourself, moving your body, breathing with your body, focusing your concentration on things that are really purposeful and being mindful about all your movements. That's really what the 8 limbs boil down to. So the last thing that I want to just go over when it comes to yoga is a practice that can enhance and harmonize with pretty much any religion, with pretty much any positive type of behavior or organization. It's something that can help you with your personal life. It can help you with how you interact with others, how you interact with the world in general. It's a very wide scope, but you can narrow your focus especially in any one of those 8 limbs of yoga, and just focus all your attention on that particular one for a period of time until you feel like you're pretty relaxed in it, and then you can move on to the next one. And that's kind of what yoga is about. It's about showing up where you are and just giving it the best you got. That's what it all boils down to. And that's kind of what we should all be doing, isn't it? Showing up, giving it all we got, and looking out for the other folks. So if you're interested in checking out some of these yoga activities, come check us out here at Third Eye Mind. We're located at Paddle Point Park in Rowlett, Texas. We have classes, beginner yoga classes. We have slow flow classes, power flow classes. We have breathing classes. We have workshops. So any and all of these things, I invite you to take a look at our schedule. You can find that at 3rdi.space. And check us out on the Facebook. Obviously, you're on our Facebook page if you're watching this. But we've also got an Instagram. Occasionally, we'll put stuff on there. Same thing, at 3rdi.space. Well, this has been Michael. I hope you've learned something. I hope you've had a decent time sharing this time with us here. And I hope you found value in it. If you do think anyone else might be interested in this or anything else that we may have to offer, feel free to share it with your friends. Click like down there on the bottom. And hey, namaste.